So, hi guys, welcome back to the Scottish Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. I'm Martin Hamilton. I'm joined today by my co-host Corey Garden. How you doing, Corey?
Very well, mate. Very well. How are you, Martin?
I am good. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on. Like, how was France? How was UFC Paris?
Class. It was really good. The atmosphere was brilliant. Won a coupon, put all the French people on. Some of the receptions that people like Saint-Moi, Benwani,
Yeah.
Benoit Saint Denis. Fucking said his name backwards. Yeah, the atmosphere was brilliant, mate. Really good. Enjoyed it. But I hope next year it's not in France again. That's twice in a row. It's fucking dear at 11 quid a pint in the venue.
Fucking hell, man! Like, but even just listening at home, like you could, I think it was probably one of the best atmospheres I've ever heard. Like even through the telly or at WoW, I think it was Bisping. It said after it felt like it had the atmosphere of like a football game, and it really did. Like they were getting right into it, the French.
Yeah, we were sitting next to loads of Irish people as well. Some of Reese McKee's family, and I bumped into Cale and Lochran's uncle.
Yeah.
He only gets one ticket. No, he gets two tickets, but if he wants to come back after his fight to watch it, that's one of them. So it's fucking terrible, eh? I saw it in the smoking bit.
Right, aye. I was quite surprised with Cale Lochran. I felt really bad for him. Because there was obviously a lot of changes on fight week with opponent and stuff like that, and he embraced it all, but he's getting a bit of a hard time about it in social media, which is a bit poor because like in the build up to the fights, you like that, like you want a guy to get the fuck you to the fans, like he's the away fighter, like he played up to it. I don't know if I say this because like I was always a big fan of pro wrestling growing up, and you had like the heel and the baby face. I like a heel. I like somebody that's going to come in and ruffle feathers, and somebody that's not robotic. Like, see when you get these guys that are like great martial artists, but they're robotic as fuck, and they'll just go, "Yes, I'm a lifelong martial artist. I love this sport. It is a great sport." Like they all talk like that. You want somebody different, like a bit of flavour.
Yeah, he was good. He fucking owned the press conference. I persuaded Bud to go to the press conference with me, and it was all in French. And I was just listening to Big Imavov speak for about an hour in French, not a fucking clue what they were saying. She was just looking at me like, why are we here? And the weigh-ins lasted about 2 seconds, so it was fucking spent all day. But no, it was really good. Caelan Lochran was good at the press conference, giving it off to the crowd. But nah, it was a good card, mate. But hopefully next year, love it if it comes to Scotland. I'm a bit sceptical. I don't think it would. I don't think it will, but I'd like to go to Dublin as well.
See, I've got a wee sneaky feeling they are going to come to Scotland because I think, see now we've got Paul Craig main eventing in November. I think if Paul Craig wins his main event, like he has, a lot of kind of push with the UFC, and the UFC seem to be pushing Paul at the moment, which is great because he's put a lot of legwork in. But he was over in Singapore as like a invited guest, and he was over in America, like doing bits and pieces in America as well. So the more you're kind of in that limelight, and the more you're kind of getting a wee bit of star power, I think you've got a bit of pull with the UFC.
Yeah, I just think he's got to win this fight against Brendan Allen to have a chance. I think Chris Duncan's got to win as well. I think if they both win, there's a good chance of it coming back to Scotland. And they might do a few dates in Europe. I could see Newcastle or Birmingham. I could see them potentially hosting it. But yeah, tickets were extortionate for France as well. I don't know if they'll continue to sell them for that or the demand's just there because they've not been in Europe too often.
I feel like it might take a wee dip because I think with France, they've always got that kind of luxury, like the UFC have that kind of luxury now where there's not been a lot of like live MMA events in France because it only got legalised, like, was it 5 years ago or something? Like, so I think they've got that like the element and like it being new, and it was a really good card for a French perspective. But I think the scene with the last UFC they had in London, that they really struggled to sell tickets at that, and but the tickets were very dear.
Yeah, no, agreed. I'd like to go to one of the Vegas cards at some point, or even Australian ones. I think the Australian fans and the Australian fighters as well, they're just fucking slobber knockers there.
Yes.
Big Samoans like Taito Avasta and Tafa. So what did you think of those fights? Enjoy the weekend?
I thought the UFC at the weekend was really good. Like we were talking about this a wee bit off air. There was a lot of like you get this with every UFC card now. It feels seamless. It's filled top to bottom with like top 10 guys. Everyone moans about it and says, "Oh, this is trash." I don't know if like, I look at that like that because we're lucky we don't need to pay for it. Well, I think if I was paying £80 to watch it, I would maybe have a different attitude.
Fucking
But
nature.
but I thought the card was really good looking through it. I thought the card promised violence, which it did. I would like to see the stats if that was like the quickest main card ever on a UFC pay-per-view because it was really quick. Like Justin Taffa got the job done first round against Austin Lane. I can't remember the other guy that got it done in the first round actually.
Big Tyson Pedro did. Mate, if they were
Yeah.
charging squad for a pay-per-view, I'd start watching fucking golf. I like it, but not that much. But early in the prelims, did you watch? I stayed up for the first fight, the Kiefer Crosby. I'm
Yes.
interested to see what, because I was watching. Have you seen him talk? I saw him face off at Aaron Fajordi's show a while ago. He's quite an intimidating cunt, like.
He's really good, and he's one of the guys. He's been around a long time as well. I remember he was like when he was fighting on Bama, like that the old British promotion. He was on then. He was on there and done pretty well, and then he went into Bellator, and he done pretty well in Bellator. Like, he was on a bit of a rampage, and then there was one of the fights. It was like a DQ. He get DQ'd for something silly. Like he was dominating the fight, and then it was just. I can't remember if it was a knee to the head. It was something like that. Like he had the guy in the dominant position, and I think he kneed him. I think he done a Peter Yan, but I might be wrong on that. And then since then, I think he lost his fight after that, and they cut him, which was pretty fucking harsh. But then he went to Kingpin boxing and done pretty well.
Yeah, I've seen that. To be honest, when he got taken to the ground by what's the chap's name? Juicy, Kevin Juicy. He looked like he'd never been on the ground before, though. He didn't protect his neck. He was right. He was on his back. He got choked out quick as fuck. He didn't even fight the hands or nothing. Didn't last long.
It was quick. That guy that was fighting, like he fights out that City Kickboxing, and they're all very high on him. But I think it was Eugene Berman was saying that he gets the better at Izzy a lot of the time in the gym. Obviously, you don't know if they're just saying that to like hype this guy up because Izzy's like the superstar, and it's like, this guy he beats Izzy about in the gym, but he did look fucking good. He's a very accomplished grappler as well, I believe.
Yeah, he looked good. He was a welterweight. So Kiefer Crosby usually fights at lightweight as well.
Yeah.
So he took it on 2 weeks' notice. And actually, one of Eugene Behrman's guys, Shane Young, in the next fight missed weight by like £5 or something, which you don't expect from the City Kickboxing people, to be honest.
Yeah, you usually expect them to be a bit more disciplined. But I think, like with Kiefer, like, just to go back a wee bit, I think he signed a 4-fight deal, if I'm not mistaken. But he signed an actual real contract. So one of the fights that I think they might look at down the line, if he gets a win or two in his next couple of fights, is I think they'll try and place him and Chris Duncan together because they really don't like each other. They were supposed to fight over in Bellator like during COVID, and there was a lot of back and forth. Like there was a lot of like comments getting made, and then Chris had put something up before Kiefer's fight that if Kiefer won, Chris was jumping up to 170 to batter him.
I didn't know that. Chris was in Bellator as well, wasn't he?
Chris went from I think his last fight before Bellator was on top. On top, or he might have fought another regional promotion. Then he went to Bellator.
Yeah, I seen he's got a new fight as well. What are you thinking about his fight with the one Terrance McKinney?
I think it's a really good fight. I think it's a really, really good fight for him. It's quite a smart fight as well because Terrance McKinney comes with a lot of star power. He's very well hyped in the UFC, and you always get that with guys that come from that LFA background, like the feeder promotion to the UFC. They always seem to have a lot of kind of pop with the American fans. And it was the way he started his UFC career. Like he came out and he absolutely mauled Matt Fravella like in 7 seconds, 10 seconds, something ridiculous like that. Anyway, but he's been on a bit of win a fight, lose a fight, Terrance
Yeah.
McKinney. I think he's 4-3 in the UFC, so I think it's definitely a very winnable fight for Chris. But I think it's one of the fights, if he wins, it will put him over a wee bit.
Yeah, I hope so. We're just think we need a few more wins to get us some fighters to bring the UFC back to Glasgow. I think Chris could be one of them, and then Paul Craig, if he wins his fight against Brendan Allen, could be a good shout.
I think so as well, because Chris looked fantastic in his last fight against the boy Fergio. I can't even pronounce his name, but he was a big heavy puncher.
The guy that knocked out Sam Patterson, wasn't it? Yeah, Yanal Ashmoos.
Yes, he starched Sam Patterson, and I really like Sam Patterson as well. He done really well over in Brave, but he get fucked. It was a really bad KO, and I think Chris took his arms out of the game very early. Like he was kicking his arms a lot, which I think it ended up leading to the guy breaking his hand, and then Chris was getting a lot of shit for not finishing him, and you're a bit like. It's easy for us at home sometimes to go, oh, that guy's got a broken hand, he's not throwing his right hand, so try and counter that with like left hooks. But then when you're in there in the moment, you probably might not even realise his hand's broke. It's most people at home wouldn't have realised if Michael Bisping didn't point it out.
Yeah, no, I agree. Joe Rogan's bad for that, actually. He's like, oh, he's definitely injured his left leg, but it's like he's just fucking leading everybody to think. But nah, that would be good. Just thinking who else is on the Australian card. Manel Cap. Enjoy his fight. He's a wee dick, but
He was funny as fuck at that press conference, by the way. I don't know what he was wearing. He was dressed like he was about to get sent off somewhere. Like he was dressed as if he was about to be locked up. It looked ridiculous. It looked like Michael Jackson. But his press conference was really funny. Like when he launched that bottle at Kai Cara France.
yeah, I don't know what. I didn't know they had beef.
They were supposed to fight, and then Kai Cara France pulled out with a concussion, which is a very valid reason for pulling out. And Manuel Kate just was not having it. He was like, nah, fuck you and your whole team.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. Did you see the press conference with Tyson Pedro when he was talking about the pleasure man?
Yes.
He's like, I see him coming at me. I just needed to get on top of him and penetrate him. It's pretty funny.
It was weird when the guy said that in his interview as well. But he was like, you understand why they call me the pleasure man? And you're like, what?
Yeah, he was odd. He's an odd character. He's fucking shite as well. I'm pretty sure he's 0-3 in the UFC.
Yeah, he might be actually.
So yeah, but I like Tyson Pedro. I think if you could just refine his stand up a little bit, he would be really good. I think he's been in the UFC forever. I think he's been in this since 2015 or something, about 8 years. He was injured for years.
Yeah, I think he's moved to City Kickboxing actually. I think that's his new home and he's doing camps. I think you'll get a lot of guys now going from Australia over there to do it because like they're getting such a good reputation, and I think it'll be like a kind of American top team vibe over there, whereas guys will just start shooting over for here, there, and everywhere to like train with these guys, especially around about stand up because they seem to be producing a lot of really good stand up fighters, which doesn't always correlate to great MMA fighters as blood diamonds kind of showing.
Oh man, he's awful, eh? Fucking hell. I thought there's quite a lot of hype around him. I've been quite excited to watch him every time. This is the time he's going to look good. Fucking hell, he's woeful.
That fight kind of put me to sleep a wee bit. Like I was hoping to watch like the prelims in the house, and I fell asleep during his fight. I went, oh, fuck this.
He was getting beat on the feet as well.
Yeah, it was strange. It's as if it feels as if his confidence has just been knocked, and he just feels that nothing he can do right is in there. What he can't do right in there at times. I wonder sometimes if it's maybe just a wee mental thing. Like he maybe just needs that moment of absolute glory in the cage, and then it'll all come flying. But I don't really see Dana keeping him around much longer.
He's fucked it. He might just get kept around because he's got a name like Blood Diamond.
It's a cool fucking name as well, which frustrates me even more.
Yeah, it's a cool name. But he looks shite. Did you see that Charles Radke's interview when he was like, fuck all you faggots in the crowd? Daniel Connolly just sitting with the microphone like,
That it'd been a long time since we got an F-bomb dropped and we get two in the same night because Manuel Kate done it. He said the same to fucking Kai Kara France. He was like, if you don't fight me, like, I'm fighting you next. He's like, and if you don't fight me, I'm turning up to your gym. And he's like, and I'm going to spar you. I'm going to, and he's like, if you don't want it, he's like, it's happening anyway. And none of your teammates are going to do anything about it because they're all faggots. And you're like, oh, no, again.
that Charles Radke, to be fair, I don't think he was being homophobic. I think he was just saying it I think he was just fucking being offensive. Like, he's not calling the whole crowd fucking gays, is he?
Yeah, I think that's the same with Manuel Cape as well, because especially with Manuel Cape, there is that kind of language barrier, and I think like, a lot of the time, I think it's only like certain places that really think like take that as a homophobic slur. Like, it's one of the ones you're a bit like, don't maybe no say it because like ESPN's not going to be happy, but I don't really think Dana White gives a fuck. I think Dana White's like, fucking say what you want.
He doesn't. I was in New York a few years ago and I said something about smoking a fag, and some person just turned to me and they're like, I was like, what?
They think you're away to shoot up a club.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think, was there any other fights in the card? Well, I guess cut to the main event. What are you saying about the new champ? Sean, pronouns Strickland, Sean.
I was shocked. I know you probably shouldn't be because we all watch MMA and like mental things happen, but I think you were looking at it and you're going like there is a blueprint for Sean Strickland to win that fight, but it wasn't that. Like, I don't think Andy expected Strickland to just walk him down, just completely eradicate his range, take away that kind of, because like Izzy, like, he likes to throw everything dead crisp with like perfect technique, whereas Strickland just had him moving back all the time and just kind of cut that range off all the time. All the time was just in his face, fucking front kick, jab, just wasn't he letting Izzy getting a rhythm.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised, but that's why I think the sport of MMA is so great. Like, you could just, that shit like that can happen. Yeah. He's a massive underdog. I actually quite like Sean Strickland. I know some of the things he says is fucking outrageous, and I think half he does it for attention. Like, see these t-shirts, and he knows he's got a niche market, the UFC, but he knows people in America are into their guns, and he knows like he's actually hanging on. He's hooking on to a certain kind of audience and demographic.
He done the same in Australia as well. Like, he turned up with the fucking Crocodile Dundee hat on. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's a very intelligent man, and he was quite interesting on Joe Rogan. I think at times he was a bit cringe, like when he kept talking about killing people for the sake of killing. Like, I just want to kill somebody because I want to see a man die. You're a bit like that's a bit much. But all in all, like, he's brilliant for the UFC. He's a great character. He's funny, and it seems quite natural with him. Like, when you look at his background, he was kind of I don't want to say in the Ku Klux Klan, but he was very alt-right. Yeah,
his profile's grown from like 200,000 followers last week to nearly 700.
Wow.
And apparently it got taken off the card because he was sparring that person up on the stage in the open workouts.
He also punched a fan.
Oh, was it in the street?
Yeah, there was a guy in the street that came up and basically said, "Oh, I think Izzy's going to beat you." Like, there's a bit. I don't think it was exactly like that. I think it was a bit more like kind of knife to the gut sort of thing, and he just punched him in the stomach.
Yeah, but if you're going to walk up to a fighter and fucking say something like that, you deserve a wee crack, I think.
Exactly. Like, he's cutting weight. He's in Leakey's fight. He's in fucking beast mode, if you like. Leave that guy alone, because he is a legit psychopath. Like, he says it. Don't annoy him.
What do you think the next fight for him should be? The rematch, Drickus, or?
I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't want to say I'm against the rematch, but I don't really want it, because I think we're kind of getting into this loop where if you lose the belt, you always get an immediate rematch straight after it, and it makes everything a bit stagnant. Like, as he's had his immediate rematch, as he was a dominant champion, lost against Pereira and then got his immediate rematch, which his portfolio before that really did deserve, but you've just won. So essentially, this is a new stint for him as champion. Yeah. You've just won the belt again in your last fight, and then you lose your first title defence. Do you really deserve it, or do we move forward and the winner of Chimaev, Costa, or Dricus?
Yeah, I would like to see him against Dricus, or Izzy versus Dricus, and him versus the winner of Chimaev, Costa on the same card. I don't know why they don't do enough of these kind of like same weight division kind of deciders on the same cards. I think that's class. I'd even like to see a Grand Prix or something on the same night. I think that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, because they kind of done that earlier in the year with Volkanovski, or was it last year now with Volkanovski? But when he fought Islam, Josh Emmett fought Yair Rodriguez in the same cards for the interim belt. So they had that. That was like that kind of style that this is your next fight basically lined up just before you go out, and I quite like that because it allows the division to play out a bit more. I think the only thing that might kind of disrupt the plans a wee bit is with Jared Cannonier, because Jared Cannonier was a backup fighter for the weekend. Like Jared Cannonier weighed in or came and weighed in and stuff, and he's got a win over Sean Strickland. So I wonder if he'll be the next challenger.
Yeah, I don't know. They fought recently, didn't they? And Cannonier won.
It was very, very close. So like Sean thought he won, Jared thought he won, but the judges gave it to Jared.
Right. Yeah, I would like to see. I'm quite excited about the Costa versus Chimaev. I don't think Costa stands a fucking chance, to be honest. And I don't know why Chimaev's been out for so long. Where's he been?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what he's been up to. I think he was fucked with COVID, wasn't he? Like he was really struggling with like long COVID before the Burns fight. Like cause there was a stint. There was a stint between his last fight and Gilbert Burns as well. Like, I think he has been really struggling with that whole long COVID. Like, I think he was like throwing up blood and stuff. Like he was really, really bad with it. It was quite surprising.
Fuck, I didn't know that. Did you watch the Volkov fight as well? I think sometimes he looks like a world beater, and then sometimes he doesn't turn up.
Aye, like Alexander Volkov's a weird one because like when he loses, he always loses against like the best guys in the world, and you're always a bit like, he's lost against like Tom Aspinall, that's fine. Or when he lost against Derek Lewis, that he pieced Derek Lewis up the whole fight and then just get hit with an absolute slobber knocker in the last like 10 seconds. But then you watch him and he's just perfect. Like the beating he put on Tuivasa, which I must admit, I'm trying not to take away much from Volkov, but I didn't think Tuivasa looked great. Like I thought Tuivasa is usually quite quick with his hands, and I thought he looked very, very slow.
Yeah, I think he gets into these firefights too much.
Aye.
His kicks were actually doing damage. And I think if he just calm himself down, he seems always like really fucking, I need to get this fight finished. He needs to be a bit more patient. I sound like that guy at the guy at the wedding that Paul Craig always says when you give him fighters advice. I think he needs to stay a bit more patient.
This is what I would do if I was in the if it was me.
Exactly.
If it was me, I'd see red.
Yeah, you don't like me when I'm angry. No, I think they said on the broadcast that they could see Tai Tuivasa being a champion one day. I'm not sure I can fucking see that, to be honest.
No, I don't think so as well. I don't think that's a knock on to Tuivasa. I think that's just the level of the heavyweight division at the moment. Like, I would struggle to see Tai Tuivasa beating Tom Aspinall. I don't think he would beat Curtis Blades. Wait, did he beat Curtis Blades? No, he didn't.
No.
I was talking myself into that one there. Curtis Blades does tend to lose against heavy punchers, though, so he probably has a chance there. Sergey Pavlovich, I don't think he beats Pavlovich.
Should have got knocked out by Pavlovich.
Definitely does not beat John Jones.
No. When is that fight, by the way? The Jones versus fucking Stipe?
November.
It's ages away. That feels like that's taking ages to come around as well.
Yeah. Well, I was just looking today. Stipe's 41.
Fuck. I don't realise that.
He's like he's fairly getting on, and I don't think he really. I don't think he's like, a big fan of MMA. Like, I don't think he watches it and stuff. I think he just like, fucking puts out fires.
Yeah, I don't think he's into it at all, to be honest. Just looking at what age John Jones is he about 36-ish?
I think John Jones is going to drop the leg in day if he beats Stipe. I think he'll retire. I think he'll just go fuck. He's off. He's like, why would I want to fight Tom?
So nah, but it's all he knows, isn't it? Like he is a
Yeah,
fighter. So I just don't know how long he would stay retired for.
because I think it's one of the ones where if you keep fighting, you're going to lose at some point. Like it's laws of you say laws of average. It's fucking John Jones. He seems to just defeat laws average all the time. You've got to think there'll be a guy that'll because everyone's training for John Jones and everyone's kind of been training for John Jones for a long time as well. And this was what a wee segue to the next UFC that was coming up. This was always my kind of argument, my point with Shevchenko, because Shevchenko was a dominant champion for a long time. So every girl across the world that's in her weight division, whether they're in the UFC, whether they're in LFA, whether they're in Invicta Cage Warriors, they're training to be the champion at UFC. Like that's the pinnacle. So everyone trains to beat Shevchenko. So everyone's doing that with John Jones. So someone's going to figure it out at some point. Like someone's going to get that blueprint, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, no, I agree. But it just feels like it's taking forever for that fight to come about.
And it's one of the things you're like, come on, just happen because there is a lot riding on this fight. Like Stipe, in my opinion, is the heavyweight GOAT. What UFC heavyweight GOAT. There is a great argument for Cain Velasquez. Don't get me wrong, but I think like Stipe, like he's proven it with his title defenses. Like
Yeah. Or big Fedor. Have you seen the new UFC 5 games coming out at the end of October? I'm wanting to buy a PS5 just to get it, but I can after about a week. I won't play it. I'll just fucking sit and gather dust. But still, I'm still gonna buy it.
I love the UFC games. I think they're fantastic, and I'm really happy Fedor's in it because Fedor's cool as fuck.
Yeah. Have you got UFC 4?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's hard on the ground. Like if I can keep it standing, there's a good chance I win the fight, but I just get fucking powered on the ground. Like I still don't know how to properly do submissions.
Well, I thought I was good at that game until I played it online, and you're up against like mad sweats that just fucking knock you out all the time. You're like, it's pain in the arse.
Yeah, it is decent. So I think Shevchenko's on the cover. It looks nothing like her. Have you seen the new cover?
I have actually, I have. Is it her and Volkanovski?
Yeah, it just doesn't look like Shevchenko at all. Not for like. I wonder if I can find it. You can share screen on this, can't you?
Yeah.
Not that I know how to do it.
It should be doing the bottom.
I forgot how to use Zoom since lockdown. Nah, we'll give up on that. I could be here forever. I work in technology as well, but I'm fucking hopeless at it.
I think the Grasso and Shevchenko fight's very interesting, and I'm very so I like how they're kind of building this whole card really round about Grasso, and like kind of maybe the future of the flyweight division. Like I quite like that, like the whole UFC Noche. They've made it an Mexican Independence Day, and they were building a banger of a card. There was a couple of unfortunate injuries. Like Kelvin Gastelum was supposed to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov, which was a fight I was really excited about because I really like Shavkat, which I think everyone does. But I also think like Kelvin Gastelum, when he's in that zone, when he's fit, when he's ready, he's fantastic.
Yeah, who did he fight recently? And he fought really well. He stuck to his wrestling. He just looked like the old Kelvin. He looked really sharp.
Was it Imanov? No?
It might have been, but there's chats of him going back down to welterweight as well, Gaston, because he's only like 5'9".
Yeah.
Chris Curtis.
That was it. Right. Okay. Did Chris Curtis beat him?
No. Kelvin just fucking looked just superior. Looked so much better.
Oh, that was the Joaquin Buckley fight I was thinking of. Like Joaquin Buckley was dominating him with wrestling, and I think Chris Curtis caught him and knocked him out.
Yeah, yeah. Just looking at who's on this card, there's a guy that stands out to me that I watched. But I think it was a head kick knockout he got last time, that Roman Kopylov. Do you remember?
Oh, right, yeah.
It was a fucking peach. It was on. I'm trying to remember what card it was on. I think it was it the London card? It was UFC 291 with the Gagey Poirier.
Yeah, right, okay.
He was on the prelims and he fucking scored the big head kick. He looks really good actually. He's fighting against Josh Fremd.
Right.
I don't know. He said right, is that?
I was the name. I was the name ringing a bell, but I could not remember that he's fought. I was just about like I was just rolling with that one. There's a few interesting fights in this card that I like. I like the look of Raul Rosa. He's another one that gets a lot of shit because he was pushed very early. But the kid's only 18. Like, I always think like, what was I doing at 18? I was like sitting in a park with a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 with a fucking joint. Like, do you know what I mean? And this boy's fucking fighting in the biggest organisation in the world. Like, he signed at 17. He's fighting guys 20 years older than him easily.
Yeah.
Guys that have got more wins than he's had fights. Like, he's looking really good. I think his last fight, he just gassed out in the first round, but you learn. But
Yeah.
it's just unfortunate because it always reminds me of a conversation I had with Rhys McKeown, and Rhys McKeown always talks about doing an apprenticeship, but he says he does his apprenticeship in Cage Warriors, whereas this boy Will Rosa, he's doing his apprenticeship in the UFC, where you can't make these mistakes in the UFC.
Yeah, I'd agree. He does look good. I think his wrestling and his ground game will be too strong for Terrance Mitchell. It's his interviews though. He's an ugly wee bastard, eh?
I was trying to say it.
He's fucking no, he's not a good looking guy. Like, looks like he's been punched about. Probably has. 61 kilos he fights at. Fucking hell.
He's a bantamweight. He's light. He's very, very light. He was one of the guys I think he was off the Contender Series last year. He's got fucking great attitude though. He's one of the guys, even though he is like a kid, essentially, like 17, 18, like I had nothing figured out, man. He's just got this warlike attitude and he's just bouncing about everywhere. Like he's fantastic. But a fight that's really kind of got me tore a wee bit is Holland and Jack Della Maddalena.
Yeah, I remember watching Jack or JDM. JDLM? How many fucking
JDM, I would say aye.
Yeah. I remember watching him in the Contender Series and his boxing just looked so sharp. But I think last time out he looked pretty I think that was his hardest fight. Just trying to Google who it was against.
It was a boy making his UFC debut or something, wasn't it? Like he took that fight on like a couple of days' notice. Something happened.
Doesn't even have a Wikipedia, but that was quite a hard fight for him.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure he took that fight last minute because he was supposed to fight someone else, and the fight get pulled, and he wanted to stay in the card, so they kind of basically just pulled somebody out of nowhere, and the guy put on a really tough fight.
Yeah, just looking at Jack Della Madalena's record, and he lost his first two fights ever and won 15 since.
Oh, that's impressive.
Won his last 15 fights, but his boxing looks so sharp. And against Randy Brown, he's kind of takedown defense and stuff as well. Who do you think who you got on that one?
I'm swaying backwards and forwards because I think all round I think Kevin Holland is like the better martial artist, and I think if Kevin Holland's he's got great jiu-jitsu because he trains under Travis Lutter, and Travis Lutter says he's like one of the most gifted athletes he's ever had. But with Kevin Holland, like he just doesn't care. He's got that kind of doesn't give a fuck attitude, which sometimes goes against him because like when he fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he made a gentleman's agreement. that no one would shoot for a takedown. You're fighting one of the best fucking kickboxers in the UFC. Take him down.
Yeah, I don't think that was a clever thing to do. He did look good in his fucking last fight against Michael Chiesa. I never seen it going
Yes.
that easy for him. I think he submitted him in round one, and then before that, he knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio, who was in the top 10 at one point as well. So he's fought some killers. I just think Jack Della Maddalena will be too disciplined for him.
Yeah.
For the 3 rounds, I think Della Maddalena is going to win by knockout. I think he's going to catch him at some point coming in.
I really like that Ponzinibbio as well. I remember seeing him fight in UFC Glasgow, and it made an absolute pieced up Gunnar Nelson, which broke my heart. But he looked phenomenal in that.
Yeah, that was the main event. Hey, what a fucking shitey main event they gave us, eh? No Scottish, fucking Argentinian, and Icelandic.
Aye, it was one of the events as well. It started off with really good because Danny Henry came out and beat David Trimer from Sweden. He came out and he beat him, and then Stevie Ray Stevie Ray get beat off Felder. I think Paul Craig get knocked out of round 3. And then Joanna Calderwood lost a decision to Cindy Calvillo. Was that who beat her? So the place just went from here all the way down. But it's always.
Danny Henry still fighting?
I don't think so. I think he's still signed with the UFC, but he seems to be having a lot of injuries and stuff that's really holding him back.
Yeah, he's 35 as well.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he beat Hakeem Dawodu, who's doing pretty well in the UFC.
That was one of my favourite submissions I've ever seen. He got him in a standing guillotine, and he like nearly ripped his head off. It looked horrendous.
Yeah,
but I do find it interesting when you look back through like old cards and like some of the ones you were there and like the guys in the early prelims, like where they are now. Because when I was looking through that Glasgow card, I looked through it a couple of months ago, and fucking Pantoja was fighting on it.
Was it?
Aye, I think he was like the second fight or something, first or second fight. You had Pantoja, who's now the flyweight champion.
That's pretty cool. Were you at the one before that with Michael Bisping and Talis Lettis?
No, I wasn't, no.
When was that? 2015, I think. Yeah, 2015. Ross Pearson, Joe Duffy, Leon Edwards.
Oh, fuck.
Stevie Ray. Yeah, there's some cool fighters in the...
Was Whiteford on that?
Whiteford. He was. He beat Paul Redmond, the Irish guy.
So he did, yeah.
Jimmy Riviera, Chris DeLoccia. There was some big names. I think I watched it on the TV, but I don't think I was there.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't. No, because that was the first UFC event I'd went to. Was the one in Glasgow. It was brilliant. It ran really smoothly as well. I say it's always my critique of Bellator. I went to one Bellator card, and that's me a fucking expert. When I went to Bellator over in Dublin, it lasted about 6 weeks. It was so fucking long. You were in there for about 8 hours.
Yeah, France was a bit like that. I think we went at 5 and got out at 11. The queues were fucking massive to get in as well. They were like miles down the street. Because obviously, like a football game, you can go in all around the stadium. Where at UFC, you've only got one entrance, and you've got to get your bag searched and patted down and all the rest of it. I think that UFC Glasgow cards, but it must have been when I first started watching the UFC, because Stevie Ray was fighting, and he's from where I'm from, and we were watching it in a kind of local pub, and there was fucking hundreds of people there. So that was when I first started watching it, because he was won in the first round by knockout.
Wow, I can imagine the pub was bouncing.
Yeah. I think UFC will get a few stars with Scotland in the future. I definitely think that Sean Clancy will be in the UFC one day. He's a fucking killer.
I heard he just signed to Cage Warriors during maybe last week.
Ah, cool.
That's a big signing for them. And then they've obviously got Rhys McEwen as well. I think Rhys McEwen's probably a 2 fights away if you win in the title. And then if you win the title there, you could go straight into the UFC, or you can go through the Contender Series. So they've got them two. They have, obviously, we've got Chris in the UFC, Paul in the UFC, Joanna's still fighting, Casey O'Neill as well. we've got a few. We can really stack up a card, but I was really happy to hear that Sean Clancy had signed for Cage Warriors because he's fantastic. He is so good.
Yeah, no, he is good. He's only about 18 as well, you know.
I think he's at 18 or 20 or something. Like, he's so young.
I'm up to Cage Warriors at the end of this month, actually. When is the next Cage Warriors? Is that the next one?
I think, is that the one in Manchester?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is because Nathan Fletcher's fighting on that, isn't he?
Yeah, there's a few good fights. I like that Tobias Harila. Have you seen his walkout with a mask?
Ah, right. Is that who that is? Right. Okay.
He's got quite a cool. And then the Liverpudlian boys, Luke Riley, Matt Bonner, and Adam Cullen are all fighting on the card as well. It's local for them, isn't it?
Yeah, they're always packed on that card. Is it in like the B Tech Arena or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always in that. It's good as well because it doesn't matter. Like the B Tech Arena is basically it looks like a community centre. It's like quite small when you get in. Like see where they set up the stairs and like the seats and stuff. It's really quite snug, which is good because you're always quite close to the cage. And like where I was sitting, I just bought a normal ticket, but I was at three seats for the front because they have like front row, which is just like fucking 3 rows of seats and then a wee barrier. And it was like Paddy the Baddy was right in front of me. Tom Aspinall was there. You had loads of guys, but loads of like, big guys were there, like, big famous guys.
It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to a Cage Warrior. I've only ever been to UFC events, actually. But I'm looking forward to going to the one in Dunfermline in November still, if you're keen.
Yes, Goliath. Yeah, I'm definitely going because one of the boys for the gym might be on that.
Oh, cool. You've got even more reason to go. What are you saying about the main event this week? Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso.
I always hate betting against Shevchenko because she is one of my favourite fighters, and I think there is a great argument for her being the second best woman of all time. I always think it's got to go to Amanda Nunes. I know I get so much shit for this because everyone goes cyborg, and I'm just like, oh, is it really? Aye,
They fought.
aye, but then everyone goes, oh, aye, but it's one fight. No, well, it's the only time they fucking fought. It's the only time. It's the only thing you've really got to base that off. And then they go, oh, but such and such beat like. You get in a fucking rabbit hole with them because it's always like, oh, who's the deaf guy that beat John Jones with this DQ? Matt Hamill. They always go, oh, Matt Hamill must be better than John Jones, and you're like, shut the fuck up.
Nah, I think it'll be quite a good fight actually. I think Shevchenko will be too strong for her. Most people are putting their bets on Alexa Grasso, but I guess once you're a champion, you lose it. You'll find that you tend to not win the rematch. It's usually I've seen the odds. It goes in favour of the person who's won usually.
Yeah,
rematches.
it's quite interesting because like everyone is now saying that like that Teddy Atlas quote, like when you become a champion, you get 30% better.
I hate that. I fucking heard that about 20 times, fucking 20 million times over the last few months.
It's a wee bit annoying. Like, I get what he was. I did get what he said with it. And when he first said that, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But it's just been flogged to death.
Yeah, I've heard it on so many podcasts. But yeah, I wonder who's the favourite in this fight. Grasso versus Shevchenko.
I've got a feeling it will still go with Shevchenko. I think Shevchenko will be a slight favourite, and Grasso will be a slight dog.
That's pressure being in Mexico, isn't it?
I know. Well, it's in Vegas, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was in Mexico. I thought that was because it's UFC Noche. You're maybe right.
Yeah, I think it is, but I'm sure it's in Vegas for some reason. It's pretty fucking bizarre.
Oh, it's just on Mexican Independence Day.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. But I think they do have it at a proper arena though. I don't think it's the Apex.
Okay, that's good. That's good. To be honest, the card is not that great. I was even looking at it. I thought it was quite good, but there's only a handful of fights that I'm interested in watching. It's probably the main three. You've got a few other like Chris Giagos, Kyle Nelson, D-Rod fight got cancelled. He was meant to be fighting Ponzinibbio.
Yes, because his fight get cancelled, Shavkat get cancelled. It was looking a great card, but then I think there has been a few that pulled it. It's just
Yeah.
disappointing.
Tracy Cortez. That's Brian Ortega's bird, isn't it?
Aye, she's a wee dime piece.
Just looking at her. Yeah, she's all right.
Aye, she's a good fighter as well.
I don't know about her fighting record. That's no. I'm googling. For a full creep mode, I'll get off her page. You staying up to watch the fights this weekend? No.
I don't think I'll stay up. I'll probably watch it on Sunday morning with a roll and bacon. I think that'll be the plan. But it should be good. Should be a good night of fights. Like, I think we were spoiled the last couple of weeks with fights being so early. Let's see, like we had France and we had a couple other ones that were like great timings, like that.
Yeah.
Like Singapore as well. It makes the world a difference. Like the enjoyment factor. I always feel like when you sit up to 3 o'clock, like 5 o'clock in the morning, you always just feel like you want the event to end. Like just finish them, just finish. Like you don't enjoy the fights.
No, I agree. I do like watching them live, though. There's something about being able to skip forward and that the next day. I don't like that because I always do it. And you kind of miss all the build up, and it's just
Aye.
not as exciting. I wonder if the Abu Dhabi one's on at normal time. A few of them have been normal time, a few of them haven't.
It will be like the Abu Dhabi one. They always have that on at a decent time, but for some reason they always make Abu Dhabi pay-per-view in the UK. Like it's the only ones that are ever pay-per-view, like Abu Dhabi and fucking McGregor's cards.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it just now. That's the rematch between Oliveira and Islam Makhachev, isn't it?
Yes, I really hope Volkanovski can get it done because the last time he lost, I was so gutted. I had to go a wee walk to calm down. I was like raging.
Volkanovski.
Aye, I love him. It's a fucking. It's Oliveira. Aye, it was the Oliveira fight. I don't know why I was saying Volkanovski.
I was like, who the fuck is he on about?
See when he got me in the arm triangle, I had to go a wee walk. I was like absolutely devastated. I was raging because I'm not a great fan of Makachev.
Can you see it going any differently though?
No, really, no. But I had it all built up in my head. Like Charles is going to come out. He's going to catch him. He's going to take it. He's going to get him in a guillotine. He's going to get him in a triangle. He's going to get him in something. He's going to take his back. I had it all set up. I was getting all ready, be all excited, and then he just gets fucking mauled.
Mate, have you seen the odds for Khamzat versus Paulo Costa? Paulo Costa is -375, massive favourite. Khamzat is a massive underdog.
Really?
I might chuck some money on that.
I wonder if the bookies know something we don't.
Don't know. That seems. I know he's not had many fights at middleweight, but I think his wrestling will still be far too strong.
I don't like Paulo Costa doesn't fight much. Like, I seen a stat that I don't think Paulo Costa's beat anyone that's ranked in the UFC or still in the UFC. Might be still in the UFC.
Uriah Hall, I think, is the last time he won a decent fight.
Because he beat Luke Rockhold. He was fucking bare knuckle boxing or something ridiculous like that. Yoel, he's floating about Bellator. Who was it before? He could beat off Izzy before that. And then he butchered fucking Johnny Hendricks at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Luke. I forgot about that Luke Rockhold fight actually. Beat Yoel Romero, which was a good win. But as you say, all these guys are out with the UFC now.
Yeah,
He's still 40-2. He's still got a decent record, Paulo Costa.
yes, and I think he's. Oh, he didn't beat Vittori. He got beat off Vittori. That was one of his last fights, wasn't it?
Yeah, he massively missed weight as well.
He was blaming it on the hair transplant tablets.
Gosh.
I found that fucking hilarious. He was like,
I could do some of them, look. Hit me up.
Yeah, because he actually went and got a hair transplant, and it's like the tablets you take for like aftercare. He said that was making him like retain water.
Right.
And then like Paul Craig was like, I don't think that's necessarily true.
Gosh. We need to get a wee fight companion set up for one of the cards that's a UK time. Get a few games of UFC 5. Have you got PS5?
Yes.
Have you? I need to get myself one.
Yeah.
Maybe for the Abu Dhabi card. Be up to anything else exciting this weekend?
Going to a Muay Thai show tomorrow. One of the guys from the gym he's fighting down in Ayr, so going down to that. That's at early start. It's 1 o'clock, so gotta go down to that, and hope he gets a victory.
You boozing?
No, I'm off it. I'm off it for a wee bit. I'm trying to fucking behave myself. I say that something will fucking happen. What about yourself? What are you up to?
Nothing exciting, mate. I think I'm maybe doing at Fuming Rose tomorrow. Just chill out to us. But it's Friday and I've already got a taste for it. I go to the shop and get a few tins. My bird's away to a CrossFit competition in Newcastle, so I'm home alone.
Yes. Get that forged Irish stout in you.
I did, mate. It's actually all right, but just beers at a tin in general aren't that good. I imagine if you got it in a pub, it would be quality.
Aye, what on draft?
Yeah.
He puts it in his fucking stew.
Really? I think that'd be all right
Bastard.
if you could cook as well. But hopefully get a few of them if the UFC goes out to Dublin next year. It'd be quite. Well, but get Paul Hughes on a card, Ian Gary, McGregor. It'd never happen, but it'd be fucking quality.
Aye, I think they'll get it next year, especially with Ian Gary. Like you see, there seems to be a big push for them signing a lot of Irish guys, and hopefully it happens. Hopefully it's over there because they deserve it. But I hope they don't do it in the free arena because I don't think the free arena's really big enough. I'd like to see them aim for like a Croke Park or something like that, like something really big, like be very
More chance to get tickets for us as well, and not paying
yes.
for fucking nose. Keen for that, but cool. Well, on that note, I don't think we've got much left to cover off. So I hope everyone listening has a nice weekend, and I hope you do too, Martin.
Right, thank you very much, and we'll catch you later.